Renault's Clio can tend to be a rather forgotten choice in today's close-fought supermini sector, but that shouldn't disguise the fact that it's still one of the very best cars of its kind. Thoughtful design, impressive safety provision and strong value for money are all standout virtues. Plus, the hot hatch versions are fantastic to drive.
You used to know where you were with a Renault Clio. It was loud, it had an infectious personality, and bits would fall off it on a fairly regular basis. But you couldn't stay mad at it long because it had such an endearing personality that it somehow wormed its way into your affections. These days, buyers are a lot more demanding, and things that passed muster in the 1990s just won't wash. If something falls off your motor these days, it's straight to the main dealer, chew out the dealer principal, then off for a spot of therapy. If you haven't driven a Renault Clio for a while, you'll probably be quite surprised at the way this Clio III drives. For a start, it feels like a much bigger car, and it is a much bigger car. Gone is the neurotic dartiness of the old car. This one weighs comfortably over a tonne, but it still rides better than any car of this size has a right to expect. It just smooths out surface imperfections beautifully. The engine that we've chosen here is a very interesting one. It's what Renault calls the 1.2 TCE, the turbo control efficiency apparently. It replaces quite a few other engines in the Renault range which is getting pensioned off, and Renault has some pretty bold claims for it. They reckon it offers the torque of a 1.6 litre engine, the power of a 1.4 litre petrol, and the economy and the emissions of a 1.2 litre engine. It doesn't feel like a 1.2 litre engine at all. The turbo is a very, very light pressure unit, which means that you don't get that sudden lag and lunge that you get with most turbo installations. Instead, it feels just like a larger capacity petrol unit, very smooth, and at around 2000 RPM you get a swell of torque. It's a very easy engine to drive, and unless you're going for the range-topping 197 horsepower Renault Sport car, this is definitely the petrol engine to choose in the Clio range. You probably wouldn't call the Clio III styling adventurous, certainly not in comparison to some of Renault's more recent stuff. But it's an elegant shape. It's rendered a little bit more dynamic with this three-door car. Compared to the old Clio II, it's 174mm longer, and they've sneakily grafted another 43mm of height into the car. It's a spacious car, but they've managed to do this without making it look frumpy or gawky, which is a good thing in my book. Jump inside the Clio and you see its real party piece. It's got comfortably the biggest interior in the supermini class, and there's definitely space for 4 full-size adults, even in this three-door car. And access to the rear is not the undignified scramble that it would be in many smaller cars. The fascia is clean and well designed. It's a little bit plasticky, but it's certainly not too bad. Looks quite minimalist, but it's spectacularly easy to use. You don't need to consult the manual every time you go to drive this car away. These 1.2 TCE 100 models are some of the best value in the range. They start at around £10,000 on the road. Safety is a key reason that a lot of people buy superminis, and the Clio is very, very well equipped in that regard. A lot of people will talk about the airbags and so on and so forth, but with this car, a lot of focus has been spent on avoiding the accident in the first place. It's got great weight distribution, and it's also got some rather serious brakes. It features Bosch's latest version 8 anti-lock braking system with brake force distribution and brake assist to help pump up the braking pressure in an emergency situation. You wouldn't expect a Renault Clio to be an expensive car to drive, and it certainly doesn't disappoint in that regard. This 1.2 TCE 100 petrol engine will return a combined figure of 47.9 miles per gallon, and it'll emit 140 grams of CO2 per kilometre, which incidentally is better than the 1.4 and the 1.6 engines that it pensions off. Insurance is very reasonable across the Clio range. The only car that you'd probably need to have a second look at in terms of insurance cover is the 197 model at the very top of the range, but even then that offers a lot of performance for its insurance group. Residual values have also started to look a lot stronger lately. Renault dealers have reported a drop in warranty claims, which shows that quality is going up. In the old days when you bought a French car and didn't expect much, when you came to trade it in, are long gone. If you really want to make the most of your gallon, go for one of the 1.5 DCI diesel engines. There's 3 different power outputs, all based on roughly the same engine unit. but choose any of them and you'll average over 60 miles per gallon quite easily. So that's not going to send you to the poorhouse anytime soon. I must admit that in the first 5 or 10 miles behind the wheel of the Renault Clio when I first drove it, I was slightly disappointed. Gone was that endearing, infectious personality. It had been buried under a welter of quality and quantity. But having spent a bit more time with the car, I think I'd take that. I appreciate the better quality, I appreciate that it's a bigger, more substantial car, and it's an easier car to live with on a day-to-day basis. Renault's customers certainly seem to think so too, because sales so far have been extremely encouraging. So Clio 3, same recipe of success that we've had with the first and second generation models.